Okay, this short tutorial is going to cover voicing major 7 and major 9 chords for a 4-horn ensemble: trumpet, alto sax, tenor sax, and bari sax or trombone generally. So I'm going to be covering voicings that really work well because they sound really full for that type of ensemble. A voicing is just simply an arrangement of notes for a group of instruments. So for instance, if you talk about closed voicings would mean, let's take a C6 chord. It'd be C, E, G, and A. And they're not spread out at all. They're just played right in order. But for this type of ensemble, it's better to open them up and use choral voicings, which are voicings in fourths. And when you cannot do a fourth, you will do a third. So for example, let's take the key of C. So we're going to voice for a C major 7 or C major 9 chord. Chords are made up of just scale tones. So let's take a C major scale. Okay, let's say that the trumpet has this note right here. The formula to use these is to construct them in fourths when possible. So downwards in fourths would be C, downwards, that works. Down another fourth works, and down another fourth works as well. And there's your bass note. Sounds great. Now, when you cannot do fourths, excuse me, when you cannot do fourths, we're going to do a third. So a third, if we came down to B, the only note that you cannot voice in this voicing would be an F in that scale, because that's kind of an avoid note. It clashes with the third. So let's take a voicing. Let's say the trumpet has this B in the melody. We couldn't go down a fourth, so we're just going to go down a third, and then a fourth, and then another fourth. And we get this voicing for C major 7. It's actually C major 13 because the 13 is right there. But it still sounds good, especially if it's in a moving situation. I'll do that in 1 second. Let's go down again to A. Okay, we've got a fourth down. Now we can't really go another fourth down from here because this wouldn't fit. If we did fourths, well, we get a tritone there, but let's just go down a third to there, and then a fourth. And we get this. Okay, we can keep going. G, down a fourth, down a fourth, down a fourth. And that works well. Okay, from F, we can't really do that because that's a suspended. So we're going to go down to E, down a fourth. Can't go down a fourth because we got the avoid note there. So we'll go to third, and then down another fourth. Okay, so we're getting down to where the trombone is going to be in what I call root range. Any note below, like C sharp or D, is going to start acting as a root. So you don't want to get these too low. You can, in the 4-note ensemble, you don't want to have the trumpet too high anyway. So generally, throughout this entire 2-octave or 2.5-octave span, we can do those. So what you need to do is simply go through each key, play the scale, and then start to build choral voicings based on the notes of that scale, like I just did in C. So that would be a nice practice example. The next thing I want to just run through real quick is just a line. Now, how do we voice a line? Let's say we had a line like this in the top voice. We can alternate. We could use all C major 9 voicings as I just did. For instance, that would be without using any kind of 5/7 chord within that line. Okay, but we can intermix the 5/7, let's say on the 2nd and 3rd 8th note, and then resolve it on the 4th. So an example that would be, next one we could do G7 flat 9, and then G7, or G plus 7, or G plus 9, and then resolve. Okay, so in that instance, we used just a simple, either the diminished 7. You notice that the diminished 7 notes are the same as a G7 flat 9, really. Okay, so one more time. And that would be the way to simple voicing for that particular line. So try this, practice it, sit at the piano. It really helps to sit at the piano. Over time, you don't need a piano because you have these ingrained in your head, and you can just voice out lines and voicings using that simple formula. But the formula of mainly choral voicings works well for a four-horn ensemble, such as trumpet, alto, tenor, and trombone. I hope that helped you out. If you have any questions, ask them below.